Sergeant LaDavid Johnson was killed in action in Niger on October 4th. He was one of 4 U.S. soldiers who died in this ISIS ambush that has been the subject of a lot of controversy over the last week. The controversy has also grown or become specific and focused on a Trump phone call with the widow of LaDavid Johnson, Myeshia Johnson. Was Donald Trump respectful during the phone call? Was he empathetic? According to Congresswoman Frederica Wilson, Donald Trump was an absolute disaster, telling the widow that her husband must have known what he signed up for. Now, the Trump White House and Trump himself have disputed the account. They've disputed it for days or even a week. But now the widow herself has broken her silence and confirmed, yeah, the story is exactly as Congresswoman Frederica Wilson told it. Is anybody surprised? The widow saying here to George Stephanopoulos that getting a phone call from Donald Trump made things worse for her, not better.
What did you say to the president?
I didn't say anything. I just listened.
But you were upset when you got off the phone.
Oh, very, very upset and hurt. Very. It made me cry even worse.
Obviously, a phone call from Donald Trump when you're a grieving widow makes things worse from you. It's hard to think of any situation where a phone call from Donald Trump is going to make things better for you. And obviously, as we learned from Myeshia Johnson, Frederica Wilson was 100% correct in her account of how this phone call went.
The president said that the Congresswoman was lying about the phone call.
Whatever Miss Wilson said was not fabricated. What she said was 100% correct. It was Master Sergeant Neal, me, my aunt, my uncle, and the driver, and Miss Wilson in the car. The phone was on speakerphone. Why would we fabricate something like that?
Is there anything you'd like to say to the president now?
No. I don't have nothing to say to him.
Restraint. I hear restraint in the voice of Myeshia Johnson, as well as significant grief. Myeshia Johnson buried her husband this past weekend while Donald Trump was playing golf. And after this interview, Trump takes to Twitter and he's battling a Gold Star widow, refuting her account of the conversation, saying, quote, "I had a very respectful conversation with the widow of Sergeant LaDavid Johnson and spoke his name from the beginning without hesitation." How do you win a fight with a Gold Star widow? This is one of Donald Trump's most vile tweets to date. The grieving widow of a military service member in the midst of extreme grief, and 2 days after her husband's funeral, flies to New York to be interviewed to clear up confusion, partially because the president is saying Frederica Wilson's account of the phone call is made up. And she then leaves the interview, and the president of the United States is on Twitter implying she is a liar. And the respectful right wing, which supports the troops, they've been caught creating fake Facebook posts impersonating Myeshia Johnson. On Sunday, ABC News said that there were posts on Facebook supposedly from Myeshia Johnson, which were not posts from her. I won't even give those posts more attention by telling you what was in them and reading them to you. How depraved do you have to be to impersonate the grieving widow of a military service member? It's disgusting. And I've made it clear, we don't want to normalize George W. Bush. I've been super clear anytime I mention even George W. Bush wouldn't have done something so stupid. It's not praise of George W. Bush. It's just showing how insane things have become under the normalization of President Trump. But I can't think of another president, another president that would start picking fights with military widows, Gold Star widows, Gold Star dads. Not Obama, not George W. Bush or Clinton or Bush 1 or Carter. Keep on going. Unforced error once again. All of this preventable. If you're Trump, release a statement about Niger right away. Don't attack Obama when talking about Niger. Don't tweet about the phone calls at all. And if you tweet, say simply, "I was honored to speak with Myeshia Johnson. She's entitled to feel however she feels at the time, because this is a time of such grief for her. I wish her the best and thank her husband for his service." Almost anything would have been better than what Donald Trump has actually done. And my thoughts are with Myeshia Johnson. I hope that she has or builds a strong support network, probably finds a good therapist. I can't even imagine being in this situation. And, this can't be good for the morale of other service members, right? Imagine that you're a service member and you're in a dangerous situation somewhere on the planet, and you see how Trump handles this. Are you going to feel confident that if you don't make it home, that your spouse is going to be treated with dignity and respect? I certainly wouldn't be confident of that.